She was just a 14-year-old girl from Perth when the fashion world first discovered her, and when they did, the entire industry went silent. Those otherworldly eyes, that porcelain skin, that innocent stare that seemed to look right through you.
A bit gypsy, which I have that kind of style as well, so.
Gemma Ward wasn't beautiful in the traditional sense. She was something else entirely. In an industry obsessed with the sexy, the glamorous, the conventional, Gemma looked like she'd stepped out of a fairy tale, or maybe a nightmare. The fashion world had never seen anything like her before, and they wanted more. Within months, this Australian teenager was walking for Prada, shooting for Vogue, and igniting a global obsession with what the industry would soon call alien chic. For 5 years, she ruled fashion. Unstoppable, untouchable, until suddenly, she vanished. No warning, no explanation, just gone. The girl who changed the face of fashion had disappeared without a trace. Some blamed grief, others blamed weight gain. The rumors spread like wildfire, but the truth behind Gemma Ward's rise and fall goes deeper than anyone knew. This is the story of a girl who never wanted to be a model, the face that launched 1,000 copycats, and the woman who eventually found the strength to redefine success on her own terms. Australia, 2002, a city known for its beautiful beaches, laid-back lifestyle, and being about as far from the fashion capitals of the world as you could possibly get. Here, a 14-year-old Gemma Ward was doing what most teenagers do, hanging out with friends, going to school, dreaming about a future that had absolutely nothing to do with modeling. Acting was her passion. It had been since she was 10 years old when she played the witch in a school production of Hansel and Gretel. Modeling never even crossed her mind. Then came the day that changed everything. Gemma wasn't even supposed to be there. She was just tagging along with friends who were auditioning for the Australian television show, Search for a Supermodel. She had no portfolio, no experience, no interest. But when a scout from Vivian's model management spotted her in the crowd, everything changed. Those unusual features, those wide-set eyes, that ethereal, almost alien quality. The scout knew immediately. This wasn't just another pretty face. This was something the fashion world had never seen before. Gemma didn't win the TV competition. She didn't even care. But within weeks, she was signing with that very same agency that had spotted her. It happened fast, too fast for a shy teenager to process. By 15, she was walking in Australian Fashion Week. By 16, she appeared on the September 2004 cover of American Vogue alongside other models of the moment, one of the youngest faces ever to grace those hallowed pages. The girl who never wanted to model was suddenly everywhere, and the fashion world couldn't get enough. There's something about her that's not quite human. That's what photographers, stylists, and designers whispered when Gemma first appeared in their studios. Something in those wide-set eyes, something alien, unsettling, hypnotic. Fashion had seen beautiful before. It had seen sexy, glamorous, edgy. It had never seen Gemma Ward. When Gemma Ward hit the international modeling scene in 2004, she disrupted everything. Fashion was in the midst of its Brazilian bombshell era. Gisele Bündchen reigned supreme with her golden tan, athletic build, and commercial sex appeal. Models were supposed to be sexy, womanly, accessible. Then came Gemma, pale, otherworldly, almost unsettling. With her wide-set eyes, pouty lips, and childlike features, she didn't look like a woman. She barely looked human. Designers were captivated. Miuccia Prada, one of fashion's most influential figures, saw something in Gemma that others couldn't articulate. In September 2004, she chose the Australian teenager to open her Spring-Summer 2005 show. Gemma already making waves, but this would catapult her into fashion's stratosphere. In the cutthroat world of high fashion, this wasn't just a booking. It was a coronation. Overnight, the Gemma Ward look became fashion's newest obsession. The industry even gave it a name, doll face. Soon, modeling agencies were scouring the globe for girls who looked like her. Lily Cole, Vlada Rozlyakova, Jessica Stam, a new generation of models with wide eyes and childlike features suddenly dominated the runways. Gemma wasn't just a model, she had become a movement. By 2007, she had become one of the fashion world's most distinctive and sought-after faces. She walked for everyone: Prada, Versace, Gucci, Chanel, Valentino, Alexander McQueen. Her face sold everything: Calvin Klein, Burberry, Yves Saint Laurent, Dior. At just 20 years old, Forbes estimated her annual earnings at $3 million. Vogue Paris named her one of the top 30 models of the 2000s. But behind the success, behind those haunting eyes that stared out from magazine covers worldwide, a storm was brewing. The girl from Perth was starting to crack under the pressure. Nobody asked Gemma Ward if she wanted to represent an entirely new beauty standard. Nobody warned her about what happens when your face becomes so famous it stops belonging to you. Nobody told her that in fashion, even the most celebrated bodies are constantly under threat. By 2006, at just 19, Gemma had reached a level of success most models only dream about. Her name was spoken with reverence in every atelier from New York to Paris. Her campaigns for Calvin Klein, Burberry, and Valentino made her instantly recognizable worldwide. Her runway presence was magnetic, hypnotic. Designers didn't just want Gemma in their shows, they needed her. All this for a girl who never sought out modeling in the first place. A girl who still harbored dreams of becoming an actress. A girl whose identity was being shaped by an industry notorious for chewing up and spitting out young women. Fame came with a cost. For Gemma, it meant growing up under a microscope. Every runway show scrutinized, every campaign analyzed, every pound gained or lost documented. The fashion industry hadn't just fallen in love with Gemma's look. They had fallen in love with a very specific version of her. Young, thin, ethereal. Any deviation was unacceptable. But Gemma was still a teenager, still growing, still changing. Her body was beginning to mature, to develop curves that didn't fit the alien child aesthetic that had made her famous. Meanwhile, her original passion hadn't died. Acting still called to her, offering a creative outlet that modeling couldn't provide. In 2008, she landed 2 significant film roles. She played Jackie Masters in The Black Balloon, an Australian film that won the Crystal Bear at the Berlin International Film Festival. Then came The Strangers, a horror film where she played a masked killer named Dollface, acting alongside Liv Tyler. Just as her acting career was taking off, her personal life unraveled. In late 2007, Gemma was reportedly close with Australian actor Heath Ledger. The two spent Christmas together in their hometown of Perth, 2 Aussie success stories finding comfort in their shared roots, their relationship the subject of intense speculation. Then came January 22, 2008, the day Heath Ledger was found dead. For Gemma, it was devastating. The grief was private, but the fallout was public. In the months following Ledger's death, Gemma retreated from the spotlight. Her runway appearances became less frequent. Her magazine covers dried up. Her last significant runway appearances came in 2008. The fashion world that had once worshipped her began to whisper, where was Gemma Ward? The same industry that had celebrated her otherworldly thinness now scrutinized her body as it naturally matured. Tabloids published paparazzi beach photos. Blog comments turned cruel. The fashion press that once adored her now speculated wildly about her absence and her changing appearance. Never mind that her fuller figure was still incredibly thin by any normal standard. In the distorted reality of high fashion, Gemma had committed the unforgivable sin. She had grown up. After 2008, Gemma effectively disappeared from the modeling world. No formal announcement, no retirement statement. The face that had defined an era in fashion simply vanished. I have taken a break from the media spotlight for the past few years, Gemma told the Sunday Telegraph in 2011. An understatement if there ever was one. The girl whose face once launched 1,000 magazine covers had become fashion's biggest mystery. Where did Gemma Ward go? The speculation was relentless, cruel, invasive. Every paparazzi beach photo analyzed, every pound gained documented, every career move questioned. But away from the harsh glare of fashion's spotlight, Gemma was quietly rebuilding herself. In a rare 2011 interview, she addressed the scrutiny directly. "I think it was a mixture of a lot of things, really. I genuinely needed some time out, and I didn't feel like I could give everything that I should be giving." Translation: I needed to be human again. For 6 years, Gemma Ward was a ghost. Rumors swirled about where she'd gone and why. Some said she couldn't handle the criticism about her weight. Others claimed she was still devastated by Heath Ledger's death. The truth was more complex. Gemma hadn't actually stopped working completely. She continued pursuing her first love, acting. In 2011, she played the mermaid Tamara in Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides. In 2013, she made a brief appearance in Baz Luhrmann's adaptation of The Great Gatsby as Languid Girl. But these were small roles, nothing that required her to be in the spotlight for long. Mostly, Gemma was doing something radical. She was living, away from the cameras, away from the pressure, away from an industry that had tried to keep her frozen in time. She was finding herself beyond the doll face that had made her famous. In December 2013, she welcomed her first child, a daughter named Naya, with her partner, Australian model David Letts. Motherhood gave her a new purpose, a new identity beyond the two-dimensional images that had defined her for so long. For the first time since she was 14, Gemma Ward wasn't being told who to be. She was figuring it out for herself. And the fashion world? They moved on. New faces, new obsessions, new trends. The industry that had been so consumed with Gemma Ward's otherworldly beauty found new muses to worship. Most assumed Gemma Ward's modeling career was over for good. They were wrong. September 2014. The crowd at the Prada Spring-Summer 2015 show was buzzing with the usual anticipation. Then the lights dimmed, the music started, and the first model stepped onto the runway. The room fell silent. Those eyes, that face, it was her. After 6 years away from the runway, Gemma Ward had returned. And not just any runway. She opened Prada, the very same show that had launched her career a decade earlier. It wasn't just a comeback, it was a statement. At 27, Gemma was no longer the alien child who had captivated fashion. She was a woman, a mother, more beautiful perhaps than she had ever been before, but different. The industry that had once rejected her for growing up now embraced her evolution. Vogue declared, "Gemma Ward returns, the supermodel's first show in 6-year stuns at Prada." Just like that, Gemma was back, but this time on her own terms. In the years that followed, she carefully balanced modeling with motherhood. In January 2017, she gave birth to her second child, a son named Jet Ocean. In June 2020, she welcomed another daughter. Her family became her foundation, grounding her in a way the fashion industry never could. Meanwhile, Gemma continued to book major campaigns and editorials. She returned to the cover of Vogue, walked for Alexander McQueen, shot campaigns for Proenza Schouler, became the face of Country Road, one of Australia's most beloved brands. The fashion industry loves a comeback story, but it rarely allows for genuine evolution. Gemma broke that rule too. In 2020, as the world locked down during a global pandemic, she retreated to Australia's Byron Bay with her family, finding peace in simplicity and motherhood. But fashion knew better than to count her out again. But the relationship was different now. She wasn't fashion's puppet anymore. She was its partner. When fashion historians look back at the early 2000s, they won't just see Gemma Ward's face. They'll see her influence everywhere. The way beauty standards shifted, the way casting directors suddenly sought out the unusual, the ethereal, the strange, the way pretty was replaced by interesting. What Twiggy did for the 60s, what Kate Moss did for the 90s. Gemma Ward did for the 2000s. She didn't just model clothes, she changed how we see beauty itself. But unlike many iconic models before her, Gemma Ward's story doesn't end with a cautionary tale. It doesn't end with addiction or bankruptcy or obscurity. It continues with reinvention, with agency, with choice. In a 2019 interview with Vogue Australia, she reflected on her journey. "I think that I am who I am today because of my experiences, and I wouldn't change any of it. From the 14-year-old accidentally discovered to the woman deliberately charting her own course. Gemma's revolution wasn't just about her face, it was about her refusal to let the industry define her entire worth. The industry that once discarded her for growing up was now celebrating her longevity. The haunting, alien-like quality that first made her famous had evolved into something more compelling: authenticity. Today, Gemma Ward's impact on fashion remains undeniable. The doll face aesthetic she pioneered changed beauty standards for years. Her dramatic exit and triumphant return rewrote the rules for models' careers. At 36, she's achieved something rare in fashion: longevity. The teenager who accidentally changed the face of fashion has evolved into a woman with staying power. But Gemma's true legacy isn't just in the campaigns she shot or the runways she walked. It's in the boundaries she pushed and the paths she cleared. Before Gemma, models were expected to fade away when they no longer fit the industry's narrow definition of beauty. After Gemma, the possibility of a comeback, of a second chapter, became real. She proved that models could disappear, have children, age naturally, and still return to claim their place. She showed that success in fashion didn't have to come at the cost of personal growth, that a woman could evolve and still be valuable, that life beyond the camera could make you more interesting in front of it. Gemma Ward never asked to be a supermodel. She never asked to be a revolutionary. But sometimes, the most powerful changes come from the most reluctant revolutionaries. The awkward teenager from Perth who just happened to have the face of the future. The woman who dared to grow up in an industry obsessed with youth. The mother who returned to fashion stronger than when she left. This is Gemma Ward, not just the face that changed fashion, but the woman who changed what a model could be.